So welcome to November's Wine Club for Divine Vintage. And this month we're sticking in Italy. So in October we were in Sicily. We looked at an orange wine and some native varieties for red. This month we're going to the north of the country, to the other large producer of wine amongst the 20 Italian regions, which is the Veneto. So the Veneto, you might know, it houses Venice is in there. There's also the town of Verona. Verona is most well known for Romeo and Juliet, for any Shakespeare fans out there. But it's a producer of a lot of wine. And the two wines that we're going to feature in this month are two wines that have almost been victims of their own success. And that namely is the world's favorite sparkling wine now, Prosecco, and then one of the easiest pizza pasta wines in the world, which is Valpolicella. The problem we've found that when something is so successful and so enjoyed, a lot of producers jump on board and they can kind of make it a bit of a mass market product. So more of a commerciality than the true essence of what it is. So we've decided to backtrack a little bit this month and show you what it's all really about. So looking at Prosecco, back in 2008, during the financial crisis, Prosecco overtook champagne as the world's favorite sparkling wine. I think a lot of that was down to financial pressures. People weren't buying luxury wines like champagne, so they'd downgrade and get something sparkling anyway, and Prosecco really filled the gap there. Because it became so popular and it became so widespread, then they really started to expand production and make it very quickly. They'd leave some sweetness in there to cover up any wine faults, and it's kind of given Prosecco a bit of a bad name. As we saw last month with the Sicilian wines, the red wine was a DOCG, or the Denominazione di Origine Controllata, which is what this Prosecco is. Most Prosecco is a DOC, and they can be not particularly good. Without naming names, you might know a quite famous small blue label, a light blue label, and that's often on sale. It's fairly cheap, and it's given Prosecco a bit of a bad rap. I wanted to show you one of the best producers in the world, Nino Franco. These guys were established in 1919, so they're over 100 years old now. And what distinguishes them is, apart from the history, is also they're in the really special part of Italy, or in the Prosecco region, for growing the grapes, and that's an area called Valdobbiadene. Bit of a mouthful. It took me about 3 years to be able to say that word. But this is almost like the Grand Cru, if you like, of the Prosecco production. And they also age the wine on the lees, the dead yeast, for much longer than the mass-produced stuff. So you end up with something that's very fine. You've got this really crisp apple character and this lovely effervescence without a hard carbonation that some of the cheaper ones can have. So we're pretty happy with the Nino Franco Rustico Prosecco Valdobbiadene, which is going to be one of the Wine Club wines, partnered by another wine, a little bit of a victim of its own success, which is Valpolicella. So this is northwest of Verona, and Valpolicella actually translates as the Valley of Many Cellars. So there's a lot of wine producers here. They drink and make a lot of wine. But often, if you go to an Italian restaurant or in supermarkets, these might be sort of the $10 choice in the supermarket or the $10 glass in a restaurant. And it's cheap, it's cheerful, it's got some sort of gentle cherry flavors, but it was pretty much almost like the Beaujolais of Italy. And it would go great with pizza and pasta, and it was kind of fine. What we've got here is we've got the Rubinelli Vajol, and these guys are always considered one of the best producers of Valpolicella, and they've even been recognized by the Gambero Rosso magazine, which is really the part of the slow food movement. And every year they give out a guide, what they call the glasses, or bicchieri, and you get 1, 2, and then 3 bicchieri. So this is the tre bicchieri, the three glasses. And there's only a little less than 200 wines in all of Italy that get this. So this 2021 vintage, not just Valpolicella, but it's also a classical, so a smaller region within it, and then the superiore. So superiore just means a little bit tighter restrictions. So rather than just 11% alcohol, it's at least 12%. And this is a wine from 21 vintage, which is fabulous. We're really happy with this. If you like Valpolicella, then this is really the stepping stone to the very highest level, quite a famous wine, which is called Amarone. So Amarone is made from the same grapes as Valpolicella. The main grape here is called Corvina. There's a couple of others. There's Rondinella, Molinara, but Corvina is really the main grape. And when you see a wine like this, it's proper serious wine. This is like, can hold its own amongst some of the great wines of Italy. And I think that you'll really enjoy the step up in quality of both the Valpolicella and the Prosecco. By the way, Prosecco used to be the name of the grape. Problem was, people all around the world were using the grape Prosecco and label it Prosecco in Australia and California. And that kind of cheapened the name as well. So less than 20 years ago, they actually changed the name of the grape. So they changed it from Prosecco to Glera, Glera. And this is the grape now, which is used around the world, but only in Italy, in this region, can you call it Prosecco. So we're going beyond stereotypes this month. There's some pretty bad reputations for these wines in general, but we wanted to feel confident that just because it's a bad reputation doesn't mean all the wines are terrible. And I think we've found two wines which are really quite exceptional. So hope you enjoy these. Happy November, and I think these will go great with Thanksgiving. So give them a go. Cheers.